Hi there, and welcome to this week's coaching tip. Today we're going to talk about probably two of the most important things that we'll ever discuss inside of coaching. And it's your ability to remain not only hungry, but most importantly humble as you get really successful. You see, being in great businesses, you need to understand that it's not about you and what you're doing and the image of what it looks like to be a successful agent. It's actually really about understanding how you can serve the customer, how you can actually help people, and most importantly, how you can facilitate some of the most challenging situations that they're going through in their lives around birth and death and marriage and divorce and life cycle and all of the stuff that happens in being a great real estate agent. But in order to be really hungry, it's important about understanding what it is that you're doing here. What are you trying to build, and what are you actually going to be as a great agent as you continue to build this career? You see, being humble is incredibly important. Now, there's all the sorts of image things that real estate agents do, like buying great cars and, great holidays overseas. But what I know is really important is about setting yourself up for financial success. You see, in 20, 30, or 40 years from today, you're going to wish that you had to put more money aside. You're going to wish that you had made much better purchasing decisions and investing decisions to be able to buy assets that actually return you a really good income. You're going to wish that you had multiple sources of income rather than just your real estate career, by buying investment properties and shares in businesses, and then in addition to that, putting money in the bank so you just have that great level of safety and security. You see, a lot of agents have this moment of fear in their career about putting on an assistant because they're not sure that they can afford one. But here's the key thing: you can't afford not to. So what would happen if you didn't buy things that you didn't need? If you didn't spend money on image-based purchases and instead invested it back into your business? And most of the businesses that I get the opportunity with are absolutely crying out for capital because they're looking for people that can actually help them to be able to really grow that business and to serve more customers. There are only two reasons why a business isn't successful. One, there's a complete lack of vision, or two, there's a complete lack of capital. And by putting that capital in, it allows you to put the right people in the right positions, so then you can really narrow your focus to the stuff that's critically important. So how do you remain hungry all the time? You see, even in coaching people that have gone from being zero to hero and even being the #1 agent inside of our country, the #1 thing that really separates them is that desire to actually be somebody. Be somebody for their customers, to be somebody for their staff, to be somebody for their family, and to be somebody for themselves. And it's about making that decision to always understand that when you're at the peak of the mountain, when you've won all of the awards, when you've done the most number of sales in the office, when you've produced the highest level of gross commissions, then that is actually just the peak of that mountain. It's not the peak of all mountains. And that now you've got the most important journey, which is to the peak, to the next mountain. It's understanding that there's going to be the descent, which is the most dangerous part in business. There's going to be plateaus inside of your career, but it's your ability to be able to change and to pivot quickly to the new market conditions, to the new challenges of the day, to be able to serve more of those customers. So what is it that gets you inspired? What's got you energized? What's the stuff that really gets you motivated, that you love doing? We'll do more of that. What's the stuff that you find mundane? What's the stuff that's really irritating you? How can you give that to someone else on the inside of your business so you can remain focused about where you substantially add value? And how do you always remain humble? How do you have a great public life where you're really out there making things happen for your customers, but have a very private life so that you can remain doing those things that you love to do, but not put it out there where it might cause some issues with customers who don't really think that not only do you need the money anymore, but do you actually really care about them and their situation? The ability to be able to connect with humans, with empathy about where they're at in their world and what they're doing is the #1 thing that will separate you in being a great agent over the long term, not just being a great agent for this year and then burning out. So stay focused on what counts. Keep that level of humility. Make sure that you're hungry to always be out there serving the customer, and understand that your #1 competitor is actually you doing better than what you did last week, last month, and last year. How do you have your best month ever and your best year ever, year on year? And that is what true success looks like. Well, I really hope that you've enjoyed this week's coaching tip, and I look forward to seeing you next week.